Hello and welcome to the Catch a Lift Coaches Corner. I am Cal head coach Melissa, and this week I am honored to welcome retired U.S. Army Sergeant Marlene Rodriguez to the show. Marlene is a retired U.S. Army veteran, 3-time Iraq War veteran, Purple Heart recipient, avid outdoors woman, and so much more. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coaches Corner. Marlene, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being here with us. It's an honor to talk with you today. Marlene, let's hop right in. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about your life growing up and what would ultimately lead you to joining the U.S. Army?
Sure. So I was raised by a single mother for a couple of years, and then my stepfather came into my life. I think the joining the military was something that I was looking at wanting to do when I was really, really small. I kind of hints the fact that my stepfather, he bought me a cami hat, and I used to wear it like every day, all day. I mean, I wore it so much the rim of the hat was like completely broken up, and it would fall apart. But funny thing is, I didn't join right out of high school. I was so inspired by my stepfather that I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. So I actually went into the sheriff's department. Before that, he worked as a sheriff for 35 years, and seeing what he did every day, it was just an inspiration to know that somebody could love something so much.
Right.
So I actually tried it out, and of course I hated it. That lasted like 2 years, and as soon as I knew that I didn't want to do it, I immediately joined the Army.
What do you think it was about the Army that, that was the branch that you wanted to join?
In the end, I think it was that it was sustainable. No other force besides the Army can take care of itself. We don't have any help with anybody. It's just the Army. It's one entity. Nothing like the Navy or the Marines. They got assistance. So, yeah, I think that's what ultimately pushed me to the Army.
Very cool. What year was it then, Marlene, that you enlisted, and what MOS did you enlist as?
I enlisted in 2003, and I think I was about 23 years old by then. And I had tons of choices for jobs, but I was so eager to get in. I took the first one that was available, and 88 Mike was what it was, and I'm glad I chose it because I loved my job.
Yeah.
But the reason why I chose it is because as soon as I enlisted, I left 12 days later. So it was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah. So just for anyone listening too, an 88 Mike is a truck driver. So 2003, 9/11 has already obviously happened at this point. When you joined, did you join either with the intention or, did you know that you were going to be going to Iraq very soon? Was that on the forefront of your mind?
Not really. I knew that eventually it was going to happen, but I didn't really go in thinking I was going to go downrange or go to Iraq or, go to war. It was more so like something I had planned on doing, and I just needed to do it.
Yeah. So Marlene, you would go on to deploy 3 times to Iraq, the first being the invasion of Iraq. Would you talk to us about being a young soldier during the invasion of the Iraq War?
I'm pretty sure it's going to sound pretty morbid, but the invasion was extremely fun. I mean, yes, I was a young soldier, so I got to experience a lot. I mean, who doesn't want to go in their first job of their career of their life, wanting to be in the Army forever, and then the first thing you get to do is, just fire weapon rapidly, just
Yeah.
get to shoot all the time. Yeah, so the initial invasion was pretty fun, and it made me a better soldier, I think, because being able to experience war immediately in my enlistment, I think it made me a better soldier.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what actually happened during the invasion, or kind of what that looked like for you as a trucker?
So I guess when you're not when you're in garrison or not in combat, your job or at 88 Mike is not really fun. So I mean, you're pushing supplies technically, like you are pushing supplies downrange. It's just more intense, I guess, and I mean, there is no front line. I guess that's basically what you can say. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I mean, you're constantly pushing forward and like you're becoming the line, right? Is that kind of like how you would?
Yeah. Basically, that's what we were doing. Just clearing areas, pushing forward, clearing, and like just sustaining areas for other troops to come in and hold down locations.
Yeah. Do you remember, Marlene, like how long was it from like the time when like you would have kind of initially crossed that berm from Kuwait into Iraq on that initial push before you guys, I don't mean like stop for the day, but like you got somewhere, like a fob was created, or like when was the first time you got to some type of, our camp formation was created that you went to during that invasion or during that first tour?
I think it was actually when we sustained a field point. So that would have been, I believe it's called Cedar 2.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think like immediately it's like
we went there a lot.
Maybe 3-4 hours in.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is from Kuwait to maybe 2 to 4 hours. It kind of took us to get there. Yeah.
Okay. What do looking back now, all these years removed from the invasion, what do you remember most about it?
Just, I guess, friendship.
Yeah.
I think protecting each other. I think that's mostly what I remember about it. I think that's why we like it so much. It's like such a big family, and it's like we come closer together there.
Yeah. Were there other females with you driving truck in the invasion?
Oh yeah. My unit was probably 80% male, I guess, and 20%. Yeah. So we had pretty much a pretty good amount of females.
Okay. What kind of truck were you driving during the invasion?
During the initial invasion, I was driving a Het.
Oh, that kicks me in the feels. I was a Het driver in Iraq. That's incredible.
It's the big green monster, I call it.
Yeah. So when you were driving that Het in invasion, I'm assuming you had a tracked vehicle on your trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was the crew riding in the vehicle?
Yeah, they were in and out of the back cab.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, that's most of the time they spent on the trailer, working on the track vehicle.
Wow. Thank you so much for telling us about that, the invasion, Marlene. It's just absolutely incredible. So jumping forward a little bit for us, in 2005, you were injured by an IED. This would be your first injury in Iraq. Would you tell us about this day?
Sure. So we were pushing from Camp Duke and going to Camp Lima. This was a supply run, I guess. Some fuel was in the line as well, but it was this massive convoy. It was just very ignorant. I don't really know why we were pushing so many vehicles. It was like, could have been like over 30 vehicles, maybe more. It was just this massive convoy, and we hit this dirt road, and once the convoy completely filled the dirt road, the daisy change just immediately went off, and it was just like every 3-4 vehicles, and my vehicle happened to be the one of them to get hit. And at the time, I was driving a PLS. It's a palletized loading device. So we put the supplies in a pallet in a container, and we pull that to protect whatever's in there. And the vehicle was like destroyed. It was like a direct rollover, we rolled over it in directly in the middle of the vehicle. Yeah.
Marlene, you would suffer a great loss that day.
Yeah.
Would you touch on that for us?
Yeah. That's definitely what makes deployment hard for me. That's like total memory right there. You'll never forget. My driver was killed. He ultimately got the major part of the blast. I received shrapnel wounds from that. But yeah, that it's tough. It's tough. I mean, you're sitting there talking to somebody, and then 2 minutes later, you're trying to stop bleeding.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's an incredibly intimate experience too. I never lost my driving partner, but I can't imagine that devastation. It becomes such an intimate relationship that you share with this person. Marlene, how do you carry on today in memory of your driving partner that you lost in Iraq?
So I just feel like he was so young, and he lost his life so quickly, and he never got to experience, every day that we experienced. So for me, I wake up every day thinking and knowing that I need to live for him. And it's pushed me through a lot, during the deep depressions, during, the suicidal ideologies, it's pushed me through. It's told me that, I gotta be alive for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Marlene, after all of this, you had already gone through all your time in war as a young soldier. You would deploy for a third time. What was it like for you, getting ready to deploy, going back and deploying a third time, after, you've already been blown up, you've lost a partner? What was that like?
It was the worst experience of my life. I think my third deployment was the hardest ever. I went through training perfectly fine. Just once we got out there and then got boots on ground, it was like we exited the wire, and all I could think about was, we're going to get hit. We're going to get hit. We're going to get hit. Where's the IED? Where's the IED?
Yeah.
So, I probably was the worst NCO out there that last time, because like I said, all I could think about was everything was an IED.
Yeah. It was hard though. So I, obviously only did one tour, but I was a truck driver. I went all over Iraq in convoys, and what I always described it like to people, from myself, what I experienced was, it was like Russian roulette every day when we would take off. Somebody was going to get hit by an IED. It's just, whose day was it? And it literally felt like that, like spin a wheel. So, and kind of my point to that, what I was going to get at too, and everything does look like an IED. There is animal carcasses all over. There's gravel formations. There's holes in the road. There's trash. Everything looks like an IED. And a lot of it was. Yeah. A lot of it was something too.
The terrible thing is now everything is an IED for me. Like,
yeah,
on the highway, it's just like IED, 80.
Yeah. It's almost like it becomes a part of you. It becomes so deeply entrenched in you. I mean, I don't know how you break away from that. I haven't been able to. I don't know how you break away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that third deployment, Marlene, in 2007, you would go on and you would be awarded a Purple Heart. Would you talk to us about the day and what led to that?
Yeah, so we believe we were doing a flip, which is you just drop load and then come back, pushing fuel to Mosul. What was it called? I can't even think of the camp.
Was it Spiker? Were you heading up to Spiker?
No, I was, my base camp was actually
Okay.
Al Takadum.
Okay.
And where were we going? Ramadi, maybe? Ramadi, yeah. And we pushed up there fine, dropped the fuel, and then my driver was a young E3, and he was like super motivated about driving and stuff and just being downrange, kind of like how I was my first deployment.
For sure.
And so when we get, he drove up there, and so normally we swap off and I drive on the way back. And so we were talking and stuff, and he's like, can I drive back, Sergeant? Can I drive back? And I was like, no, we need to swap. That way you get an idea of how it feels to be in the TCC, what you're looking for, and he's like, I want to drive. And I'm like, no, let's do it. Let me do it. And so funny thing is we're eating chow or whatever, and he happens to eat quicker than me, and he races back to the truck and sits in the driver's seat. And so I get back to the truck and I see him and I'm like, okay, you can drive. So he ends up driving back, and what it was is we get to this like intersection, and there's like a blind spot behind a house or like a hut, and the gentleman comes out of the corner and shoots off an RPG, and then that hits the vehicle, but nothing happens. And then we look at each other, and then it's like, oh my God. And then boom, the I-80 goes off. Yeah. Yeah. But that's where that's where I got hurt the worst. I think is that the fact that I had been through so many impacts or IEDs, and the impact of that just like messed me up. But the thing is, if I was driving, I think like my head would have been like cut off, because like a shrapnel piece about this big shot through the window. Yeah, and it hit the ceiling, and it fell, and it landed on our medical bag, and it melted to it. Yeah. Ooh. So if I was sitting there, it would have been my head, because I was definitely taller than him. So so he happened to just dislocate his elbow, and it's a crazy experience, because I saw a video of it. The vehicles behind us.
Really?
Yeah, the vehicles behind us recorded it. So I didn't get to see any of this until I got back, or they got back from deployment. But one of my soldiers shows me the video, and I'm like running around doing all this stuff that I don't even know I'm doing. I'm like running around. My driver, he dislocated his elbow, so he's apparently screaming, and I could hear him screaming. I remember this. I remember him screaming. I remember him saying, Sergeant, I'm hurt. So we couldn't get out of his side of the vehicle, so we get out of my side. And then he kind of falls on me. And this is where I see in the video, he falls on me, and I carry him to a berm. We lay on a berm. And then we just immediately get into a firefight. And there's like this van, this V-bid is coming at us. Like, it's just.
And then there's a V-bed too.
Yes,
oh my gosh, girl.
The V-bid is shooting at us. And then I remember the Black Hawk coming down, and then it shoots the V-bid and it explodes. And then, it's literally like a video game. I mean,
yeah.
But it's definitely all on video. So
I cannot believe you saw that on video.
Yeah.
That had to be so trippy to watch that after the fact, like after having lived it. And
right. And I'm like, I don't remember doing any of that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
What the heck?
Wow.
I don't remember doing any of that stuff. And I was just like, oh, this is crazy.
Did you finish that deployment, Marlene? Or did that injury take you out?
Yeah, that injury definitely took me out. Yeah. I remember being in the chopper, flashbacks to the chopper. I remember getting to a large hospital. From what I know, I was at Anaconda for a little bit.
Okay.
And then that's where I was induced in Anaconda. Because my brain was swelled so much, I needed to relieve, the pressure needed to be relieved. So they induced me there, and then I ended up in Germany.
Okay.
And that's where I woke up at, and found out all the issues that I had, or what went on while I was asleep for a week.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh. What was kind of that initial recovery like for you, Marlene, once you kind of woke up in Germany?
Well, waking up in Germany was wild, because you don't realize wake up and you're in a completely different country.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're in a hospital. And first thing I do is like, am I here? Where's the rest of my body? Am I,
right.
And then, the doctor automatically comes to you and explains everything that happened and what they've done since you've been asleep, and, to wake up and them tell you, well, you can no longer have children because you've lost, your reproductive organs. They were exploded in the blast. It's like, that's the first thing I heard. And that was tragic.
Yeah. Yeah. What helped you kind of come to terms with that, Marlene, or kind of get through that, hearing that, and just kind of dealing with the after effects of everything?
I struggled a lot. I definitely have to say that fitness is definitely what brought me out. Just that you get into this level, and I didn't have it for a while when I first started working out, but it's like you get into this like zone. I don't know, like you're working out, and then it's like you're not working out. You're just like destroying your body because you have this pain inside of you, and it's taking it away.
When did you start kind of exploring fitness, or what even prompted you into that? Like, what made you decide to kind of head down that route?
When I came out of the coma, I developed a seizure disorder, and what happened is the doctor said that they were unable to control him. They sent me back to my duty station, which was in Colorado. Okay. And they told me, well, there's a lot of things that you can't do anymore because we haven't controlled your seizures. So I literally couldn't walk 5 feet without having one.
Oh my gosh.
So because they told me that I couldn't do something, I was like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm not going to allow you to tell me that I can't do anything anymore. So I would go for walks. I would push myself, and then the doctor was like, well, I don't think it's a great idea that you walk outside. So I would walk inside. And then, like a friend of mine had, I kind of gave up for a little bit because I kept having too many seizures, and a friend of mine was like had already joined Catch a Lift, and he was like, "Hey, you should try this organization. You know, they provide fitness equipment. You know." And I was like, "Well, why would I need it? I can't even walk 5 feet without having a seizure." And he's like, just do it, whatever, you know. So, you know, I applied, and I didn't hear anything for a very long time. And so I was just like, oh, well, you know, maybe I didn't qualify.
Yeah.
And so he goes, so then I just get this random call, and it happens to be Lynn. And she's like, hey, we have this treadmill, you know, and it's in your location. And now it's just like, yeesh, treadmill. It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah, right? Oh my God.
But I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. Just let me take it. So I think the treadmill is for sure saved my life. Yes.
Gosh, that is absolutely incredible.
I told my doctor, you know, I started walking inside. And then I started walking on the treadmill. I walked on the treadmill, walk. You know, I'd catch myself if I have a seizure. I definitely was able to catch myself. And then just, you know, I kept the speed really slow for a while, for a very long time. But then it just, I'm telling you, it just like, it went from this like fitness to like something else, and you get into this zone, and it's just weird. And from there, I mean, I mean, you already know, I've ran a half marathon, and I'm looking to like run more. And you know, now being so inspired by Sarah, like, it's just like,
for sure.
I want to compete just like that, but I don't want to compete against somebody. I want to compete against myself. And you know, it's like, I want to be able to push myself harder like that. Like, man, this past week, or the 2 weeks ago, whenever we were there, it was just like an inspiration. And it's just like, man, I want to be at that level now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Marlene, talk to us a little bit, like right now, what does your fitness regimen look like for you?
So yeah, I'm definitely crossfitting, HIIT training, cycle training. And I work out like probably 6 days a week. I take a day off. I mean, I listen to my body. If it's you know, telling me tone it down, I tone it down. If it's not, then you know. But it's a lifestyle now.
Oh, absolutely. It turns into that, right? It's incredible what it grows and kind of morphs into for people, you know? What's your favorite thing to do in the gym? Like, if you could pick one movement, or, you know, one thing to go do in the gym, what's your favorite thing to do?
I like to do the kettlebell snatch. I don't know why.
Yeah? Okay.
It's my thing, but the muscle I like to work on most is back.
Okay, yeah. Very cool. I want to just back up a little bit here with you, Marlene, because, you know, after returning from Iraq and everything, you would go to college and receive a degree and everything. Would you talk to us about that, about going back to college after war, and what kind of inspired you to pursue the degree you pursued?
Sure, yeah. So I tried school for a little while when I first got out, and I failed completely. I just wasn't ready. I think it took me, I think like maybe 8 years to get a bachelor's degree, which is like insane.
No, no, you did it, girl. Good grief. No,
yeah,
that's awesome.
But I think what inspired me to get recreation degree was just knowing how the outdoors affects you, how it affects you mentally, how it affects you cognitively. I mean,
Sure.
how much abilities you can develop by being out there. You know, just the smell of the outdoors can change your mental health in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what made me want to pursue recreation therapy.
That is terrific. That is terrific. Good for you, Marlene. So, kind of a question in line with that. What advice would you have for veterans, Marlene, who are struggling to either take time for recreational therapy or maybe just like depression and kind of PTS, TBI symptoms are getting in the way of it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you can even do it indoors, recreation. It's just doing something, you know. I mean, put your phone down is what I suggest.
Yeah.
Put your phone down, take a walk. You know, social media can destroy you. So I think that stepping away from the phone is a great idea. I took myself away from social media for several years, just because of that fact. It can hurt. It can definitely hurt you. And you know, get off the couch, or if you can't get off the couch, you know, try something there on the couch. You know, move around. Just nature is so wonderful, and it's just so healing. And I mean, you got to get out.
Yeah. What are your favorite things to do outside, Marlene? You're an avid outdoors woman. Talk to us about some of the things you like to do active outside.
Fishing, hiking. I mean, I dabbled in mountaineering, biking, but I'd have to say that fishing is the most relaxing. It's tough. That's why they call it fishing.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think fishing is probably one of the major ones that I like to do. I mean, I surf.
That's awesome.
Skateboard. I try to just do everything and all things. Mostly because of the fact that like I said before, I live for my soldier that died. So I mean, I feel like if there's anything I got to do, I got to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Marlene, I have one last question here for you today. You've been a member of the Kale family for a lot of years now. Looking back at the impact Cal has made on you and, you know, the time that you've gotten to spend with your brothers and sisters since joining Cal, what does it mean for you to be a catch lift veteran athlete?
It's actually an honor for me to be. I wouldn't say I'm an athlete per se.
You are an athlete. You are absolutely an athlete.
It took me a while to get to this level, but I think it's ultimately an honor. It's an honor to be considered that. You know, I mean, this organization has definitely pushed me hard, and brought me from dark places, and yeah, it's certainly an honor.
Well, it was an incredible honor, Marlene, to be able to sit and talk with you today and share these stories. First of all, thank you so very much for your service and sacrifice to our great nation. And thank you for coming on and sharing your light with us all today. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you as well.
That's it for this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. We will return next Wednesday at 1 Eastern Time with another episode. Thank you again, Marlene, for sharing your story and light with us all. Thank you to ID Technologies and ClearBridge for all your support of all things Catch a Lift. Thank you to Lynn Coughlin, Henry Pomper, and Kaylee Nasiri for all the work you do to make this podcast possible week after week. And we thank the entire Catch a Lift team. Until next week, keep it real and stay Kale strong.